One of my favorite things to have on hand are dehydrated cranberries. Now that might not sound too exciting to you, but let me tell you, they are absolutely delicious as a yogurt topping, an ice cream topper. You can put them on your oatmeal or literally just eat them as a snack. Oh my gosh. Some are crunchy, some are chewy. All of them are delicious. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. Today we're gonna make dehydrated cranberries. Now I was just looking down at the bag and I've never noticed this before, but it says buy 2, freeze 1. And basically I probably buy 10 and freeze 9, okay? Because cranberries are only available in my area and probably a lot of areas in the US in the fall around Thanksgiving time. And I happen to love to use them as a yogurt topper, and I don't necessarily want to use the Craisins, although they're delicious. I also use them in chicken salad sometimes. So I have started to dehydrate my own, and they are very economical, especially when you can find them on sale. So grab a couple bags around the Thanksgiving holidays in the US and freeze them for later. Making dehydrated cranberries is super easy. Now there's a couple different ways you can approach this, and I've tried out different timings. If you want a chewier type of craisin, you're gonna go at a lower temperature, like around 150 or so, for 8 to 12 hours. And that's gonna give you a nice chewy dehydrated cranberry. However, I'm a fan of crunch, so I'm gonna go for the crunchy variety. And some of them will be crunchy, really crunchy, and some of them will be a little bit chewy. So I feel like it's the best of both worlds. So that's what I'm gonna show you today. All right, so first thing you need is 1 bag of cranberries. These are right out of the freezer. You do not have to thaw them or anything like that. And the great thing about freezing cranberries is you literally just throw them in the freezer right in the bag and they're perfectly fine. The next thing we're gonna do is add in about a tablespoon of, I'm using olive oil, but you could use avocado oil, whatever oil you want. The purpose of that is to allow the sugar or the sugar substitute to actually adhere to the cranberries. Now, you could make these sugar-free, like stop here and start the next step. But let me tell you, they are going to be very bitter, okay? So what I like to do is add between 1/4 and 1/2 of a cup of sugar. So I'm gonna start out with 1/4 of a cup. Now I've also done this recipe using a sugar substitute, which I'm using Swerve right now. And let me tell you, they turn out amazing that way as well. So if you have a favorite sugar substitute, you can absolutely use it. All right, so what I'm looking for is that all of the cranberries are coated with the sugar. There may be a little bit left over in the bottom, and that's fine. And that looks to be enough. So I'm only gonna go with 1/4 of a cup. Sometimes I use more, sometimes I use less. Now, if you make them with 1/4 of a cup and they're not sweet enough for you, the next time you'll know to do 1/2 of a cup. So once they are mixed up, pour them onto a parchment-lined dehydration tray or whatever you're gonna use. If you have the capability of going to 180 in your oven, you can even do this in the oven. I'm gonna use the Ninja Foodi XL oven, which has the dehydration function for this recipe. And if you have any appliance that has a dehydration function, you can absolutely do this recipe the same way. All right, now spread them out into an even layer. That's important. So if you want to make 2 bags at a time to save time, because they do take 12 hours to dehydrate, you can do that. Just make sure you put 1 bag per tray or less depending on the size. If you're using a small appliance that has small trays, you only want to fit on a single layer. All right, now the next step is to go on a high heat for a short period of time. That is going to burst most of the cranberries, if not all of them, but most of them will burst, just like when you're boiling them on the stovetop. And then that allows the juices to come out. The juices will combine with the sugar. I will toss them around again on the tray, and then we'll get to dehydrate. So let's go ahead and open up the oven and get this put in here. Now this function, I already dehydrated one, so I'm gonna change functions here. We want to go to bake. 450 is what we want, and we want to do this for 15 minutes and hit start. Now you don't have to do anything for the 15 minutes. When that time is up, I'll pull them out, toss them around, then we'll get them back in to dehydrate. All right, once the time is up, we're gonna go ahead and pull out the tray. Make sure you are wearing some sort of protective gear, so to speak, on your hands, pot holders, because this juice is gonna be super hot too. So the rack's hot, but the juice is super hot. All right, now they have burst, and you can see there's a lot of juice on there. Don't worry about it, it'll dehydrate out. And now I just move these around. If you wanted to, you could speed up the process. You can definitely, change out your parchment paper. But honestly, I don't worry about it. I just sort of move them around, make sure that at least most of them have opened up so that they dehydrate. All right, looks great. And now back in on dehydrate at 180 for 12 hours. All right, so we are done our 12 hours dehydrating our cranberries, and let's see what we have. Oh my gosh, they look perfect. Now, if they are done correctly, you will have some that are a little chewy and some that are a little crunchy, and that is so delicious if you use them to top yogurt with, or use them on cereal, put them in your oatmeal. I mean, there's just so many uses for them, including just snacking on them. Oh my gosh. Wow. They are so good. I mean, they're almost like candy. They are so delicious. So next time you see cranberries at the store, especially when they're on sale, grab as many bags as you can fit in your freezer. And then all throughout the year, you can whip up these delicious dehydrated cranberries.